Greetings viewers and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got something majorly different than what we usually talk about here. We don't have a Subaru video, we've got tool videos. So any of you that have been on YouTube this last week and a half and have any kind of tool related subscriptions, any channels that deal with tools or technicians, anything like that, you've probably been seeing the new Icon tools from Harbor Freight already. Several YouTube channels were given tools by Harbor Freight. The Icon series tools, there was one guy that went out, I know, and bought the tools himself. The Icon tools just hit my local Harbor Freight today, which is Sunday. Actually asked them if they were there. They were in the box in the back. They actually drug the cardboard stock boxes out of the back and let me dig out of them to get these sets. All that they had in stock were the deep and stubby, the deep and shallow 3/8 metric, the deep and shallow 3/8 SAE. They had the stubby reversible ratcheting wrenches in metric. They had the stubby non-ratcheting wrenches in metric. They had a deep well set of 1/2-inch drive SAE sockets, and I believe that was everything. That was all they had in the first stock order for the Icon tools. They already had the snap ring plier set and they had the torque wrench, but that's been out for a while now. So no ratchets, no 1/4-inch stuff, and no regular length combination wrenches or ratchet wrenches. I was really wanting to get my hands on that stuff, but that's what we got. This is what we got our hands on now. I'm out in the middle of nowhere in South Carolina, so I'm surprised my Harbor Freight even had any of this at this date. So this is just going to be a general overview unboxing of the tools, and we will get into a long-term review in another video. My plan is that this week I'm going to take out of my box my deep well and shallow 3/8 metric snap-on sockets. I'm going to take that tray home. I'm going to put these in the box this week and work with these and only these all week. See how they hold up, see how I like them, see how they grip bolts. You know, just get a general feel of them in day-to-day use. Might go for even more than a week before I make the conclusion video, because sometimes it takes more than a week's worth of work with them to, you know, see what kind of quality you actually have. For those curious, pricing on the shallow 3/8 metric socket set, I believe, was $35.99. The deep well set was $39.99, and the stubby ratcheting wrenches was $119.99. So before we go any further, yes, I purchased these tools with my own money. No, these were not sent to me by Harbor Freight. And here is my store receipt right here. As you can see, maybe. Might have to put a shot of this in later, but right here, everything came to $199.78 with a $10 coupon this weekend from the after Labor Day sale that they were running. So with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and unbox the socket sets first, followed by the wrench set. Another quick note, I'd seen in other videos and other people talking about the Icon set about the warranty, and there was lots of different information. Some people said that you will take your broken Icon sockets, wrenches, ratchets, etc. back to Harbor Freight. They'll give you a brand new one on the spot and you walk out with your new tool, much how they do the Pittsburgh tools. Some others had stated that with the Icon tools you would take in your broken tool, they would get your name, mailing address, etc. They would mail you your replacement from the nearest distribution center, which could take 2 to 3 days. I asked my Harbor Freight what the deal would be, and they assured me that it was going to be like any other Pittsburgh tool. You bring it in, they'll open a set, grab a socket, grab a wrench, whatever, warranty it, switch it out for you right on spot, no waiting. They hadn't heard the mail-in warranty information that I had heard, but they said as far as they knew, it was going to be in-store exchange for warranties, no mailing involved. They might not be informed, or they might, so take that with a grain of salt. That said, let's go ahead and get into these sets. Looks like we're going to need to remove the screws here to get the set open. All right, screws are out, so this should pop up from looks of it. Yep, this just pops right up. Get the socket sets inside. Not the way I wanted to do it. How did the trays come out? There we go. Guess they're making these sets a little more theft-proof than the normal Pittsburgh plastic rails. So now we've got the sockets unboxed. First thing I noticed, the nice little blow-molded plastic tray. I really like that. And the reason I really like that is because I like that Snap-on did it, and this is very reminiscent of Snap-on's older trays that the sockets used to come in before they did the upright with the magnetic strip in the bottom. So like that there are no skips all the way to 19. One big gripe with Pittsburgh and the cheaper sets that are floating around there that have the skips. So with that said, let's take a look at these sockets a little better. I'm going to try to switch to the macro lens here so you can get a better look at them. Curious on the 10mm how the broaching is. And I'll probably grab my Snap-on socket set and put it up here so we can do a comparison there. I thought it was funny in the other review videos where people said they had a lot of heft and weight to the sockets, but they honestly do. I'm actually kind of surprised. As most of you know, Pittsburgh sockets from Harbor Freight are actually fairly lightweight and not very dense. These definitely have some weight to them, which is actually very impressive to me being a Harbor Freight tool. And this is coming from a former Snap-on dealer, guys, so I'm not here just to beat down on Harbor Freight. I'm here to give, honest real-world reviews. So we'll go ahead and pull the Snap-on socket set up here and get some of these extras out of the way. And we'll pull these two. So we're 8 to 19 and 8 to 19. So 19 deep Snap-on, 19 deep Icon. All right, guys, so I've switched over to the macro lens so we can get a more in-depth close-up look at these sockets. Sorry, it's going to be pretty hard for me to keep in focus with this because it's such a small, such a shallow area for the focus to be. But these sockets, Icon here in my right hand, Snap-on here in my left hand, it's insane how close these things are. The font is very similar. The part number, very similar. The knurling here at the top for the metric. I know it's missing the bottom here on the Icon, but still very similar to the Snap-on. Overall length is nearly identical. It looks like the Icon socket has its own form of flank drive, which is what Snap-on calls and what Snap-on calls their system, where the fastener bites on the flanks, the flats of the fastener rather than corners, and gives you more turning power, keeping from rounding out those corners. Looks like the Icon socket has some form of flank drive in it. Just from the broaching, looks like the broaching is about the same depth on both sockets. Not the broach, the shouldering or the broach end for the drive end. Back on the back side, very similar for the drive side. Both of them have this little chamfer that helps direct the drive of your ratchet or extension into the center of the socket for getting it on there easier. We also have the little relief cut inside the squares of the square drive for the detent ball to latch on to. It's very, very similar all the way around. Overall length and everything. The only big difference I see is the quality of the chrome on the snap-on and the quality of chrome on the Icon. The chrome is a little bit lesser quality on the Icon. I've actually already found a defect in this socket. You can see it right there. There is a chunk missing from the socket, or some trash got in there and it was chrome plated over, so there is a defect right there. These snap-ons have been used for quite a while, so there are some scuffs and scratching around the outside, but no defect to be found, the same as on this brand new Icon just out of the package. So a little something to go on for quality control. I know most of you it's meaningless and nothing you'll think about whatsoever, a defect in the chrome on a $39.99 deep well socket set, but it did jump out at me. So that said, I'll probably pull a couple of random sizes out to compare, maybe the 15 mil and the 10 mil and the 8, just to see what we see. Let's see if I see any more defects on any of these sockets in the chrome work. But real quick, here's the 15 mil sockets side by side. Very similar part number, very similar everything. Even the lips right here, the knurling at the top. Again, the shouldering, the broach, the flank drive. Nearly a carbon copy of the snap-on for a fraction of the price, but how do they stack up quality-wise? We'll know that after I do a week or so review of using only the Icon sockets in place of my snap-on sockets. Here we have the 10 mils. Again, all very similar. And let's check the 8 mil. Whoop. Confused myself there. Put the Icon in the snap-on rack and the snap-on in the Icon rack. And lastly, here's our 8 millimeters. So noticing here on the 8 mil, around the drive here, a little bit of crustiness, not the smoothest of finish. Take a better look at the snap-on here. Nice, clean, straight edges on the broached end for the drive. And on the Icon here, we got a little bit of a waviness, not perfectly smooth finish there, but you know, a minimal thing. So, like I said, I'll use these all this week and maybe next week just to see how they compare, see how they hold up, how they bite on the fasteners, see if I notice any differences, measurable differences. So real quick, we'll look at the shallow sockets. No surprise, they're very similar once again. Same height. Basically same on the drive end. And basically the same as far as the broached end and shouldering. So, sockets are pretty much a carbon copy of snap-on sockets. So like I said, we're gonna take it from here, do a week or so long review. I'm gonna switch these onto this rail, take these snap-on sockets, put them in here, and take them to the house with me. I will just have these here at the shop this week to work with. All right, guys, that'll finish up our unboxing and look at the new Icon sockets from Harbor Freight. A funny little thing that a follower on Instagram just commented on my post about these sockets. It's pretty funny how Harbor Freight always compares themselves against Snap-on and so many ads, and always touts that they're better than them in every facet, power, price, etc. But it's funny how in this new Icon series they've spent so much time and money to look nearly identical to Snap-on. They spend all this time bashing them and comparing themselves to them and claiming superiority to them. Yet at the end of the day, they look just like them. So, closing little thought for you guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.